I picked up a bouquet of white lilies on my way home. Melissa's favorite. 6 years married today, and I wanted it to feel special, even if we couldn't afford some fancy dinner downtown. I left work 2 hours early. James covered for me at the site meeting. I smiled the whole drive home, thinking about her face when she saw the flowers. Then I saw the suitcases. 3 of them, lined up by the front door like soldiers waiting for orders. My stomach dropped before my brain caught up. Melissa? She came out of the bedroom already dressed to leave, her coat buttoned, her hair done. Not a hair out of place, like she'd planned this moment for weeks. Daniel, you're home early. What is this? I set the lilies down on the hallway table. My hands were shaking. Are you going somewhere? I'm leaving you. 3 words. She said them the way someone reads a grocery list. No shake in her voice. No tears. Leaving me? Mel, it's our anniversary. I know what day it is. She zipped the smaller bag closed. That's actually why I waited until tonight to tell you. I didn't want to do it over the phone. Tell me what? What's going on? His name is Richard. Richard Voss. I stood there holding a bouquet of flowers like an idiot while my wife told me she was leaving me for another man. Who is Richard Voss?
He owns half the new development downtown.
The towers by the river. You've probably driven past them and never noticed. That's the kind of life you live, Daniel. That's not fair. None of this is about fair. She picked up her purse. I met him 3 months ago at a gallery opening. I said yes to dinner because I couldn't remember the last time you took me anywhere that wasn't a diner. My chest felt tight, like someone was standing on it. We're saving for a house, Mel, you knew that. You agreed to that. We talked about this every month. I know we talked about it. Talking is all we ever do. Her voice cracked slightly, but she caught it fast. Richard has 5 houses. He doesn't talk about a house. He gives me one. So this is about money. This is about a life. There's a difference. She looked at me for the first time since I'd walked in, and I saw something close to pity in her eyes. You're a good man. You work hard, you're loyal. You never once raised your voice at me. Then why? Because good isn't enough anymore. I want more than good. I want easy. I want beautiful. I want to stop counting coupons at the grocery store and start living. I'm building something, Mel. The firm just gave me the Ashford project. In a few years. She laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. I don't have a few years to wait around for your maybe, Daniel. Richard can give me everything right now. Tonight, not someday. Now. She rolled her suitcases toward the door. I didn't move to stop her. Some part of me, even in that moment, refused to beg. My father used to say a man who begs for love has already lost it twice. Mel. She paused at the door, not turning around. 6 years, I said. That's all you have to say to me? She turned halfway. I'm sorry it worked out this way. I really am. But I'm not sorry I'm going. You'll understand someday. Maybe you'll even thank me. Then she was gone. The door clicked shut behind her, so quiet I almost didn't believe it had actually happened. No slamming. No shouting. Just a click like closing a book halfway through a chapter. I stood in the hallway for a long time, still holding the lilies. Then I noticed it. The small wooden box I'd built her for our wedding, carved by hand over 3 weekends in my father's old workshop, sitting on the shelf by the door. She'd left it behind. I picked it up and ran my thumb over the initials burned into the lid, D and M, inside a small carved heart. She used to keep her earrings in it. Now it just sat there, empty, forgotten, exactly like I felt. My phone rang around 9. Tom. Hey, happy anniversary, man. How's it? He stopped. He must have heard something in my silence. Daniel, what happened? She's gone, Tom. Gone? Gone where? She left me. For some rich developer named Richard Voss. She had suitcases packed. She'd clearly been planning it for a while. Tom went quiet, and then his voice turned hard, the kind of hard I hadn't heard from him in years. I swear to God, I will drive over there right now and— Don't, please, just— Don't? How can you be this calm? She blindsided you on your anniversary. I'm not calm. I'm tired. I looked at the wooden box again. I won't give her the satisfaction of watching me fall apart tonight. Dan, I'll call you tomorrow, Tom. I need to be alone right now. I hung up before he could argue. The house felt enormous now, too quiet, too still. I walked into the living room and saw our wedding photo on the shelf. The two of us laughing on a beach, sunburned and young and certain we'd figured it out. I picked it up and looked at it for a long time. "I'm not going to beg," I said out loud. To no one, to the empty room, to the version of myself that still wanted to run after her car. I'm not going to call her tomorrow crying. Whatever happens next, I'm not going to be the man who begged. I set the photo down gently, face up, and turned off the hallway light. The wooden box stayed on the shelf where she'd left it. I didn't know yet how much that box would end up mattering. I only knew that tonight, for the first time in 6 years, I was going to sleep in a house that was completely, permanently my own. I sat down on the couch we'd bought together, the one with the small tear in the cushion she always complained about. I'd promised we'd replace it once the Ashford bonus came through. Funny how small that promise felt now. I thought about calling my mother, then decided against it. Ellen would want details, and I didn't have the strength to relive tonight twice. Tomorrow, maybe. Tomorrow she'd say something quiet and true that made sense of all of it. For now, I just sat there, listening to the house settle around me, creaking softly like it too was adjusting to the absence. 6 years of noise gone in one conversation. 6 years, reduced to an empty wooden box and a bouquet of lilies wilting on the hallway table, still wrapped in plastic. I didn't cry. I told myself I wouldn't, and I kept that promise, at least for tonight. But somewhere underneath the calm, something in me had already started keeping score. 3 weeks passed slowly, and I still hadn't touched the wooden box on the shelf. I walked past it every morning on my way out the door, and every morning I told myself I'd deal with it later. Later never came. Instead, I went to work. Work was the only thing that made sense anymore. "You look like absolute hell," James said, dropping a set of blueprints on my desk. My boss had never been one for soft words. "Thanks. Really needed that today." "I'm serious, Daniel. You've been staring at the same wall section for 20 minutes. He sat on the edge of my desk. "I heard about Melissa. I'm sorry. Word travels fast. Small firm." "People talk," he tapped the blueprints. "The Ashford project needs a lead. I was going to give it to Peterson, but he doesn't have your eye for detail. You want it?" I looked up. "The whole project? That's a huge opportunity, James. It's also a lot of hours. Which, given your current situation, might not be the worst thing." He almost smiled. "Grief needs somewhere to go, Daniel. Might as well let it build something. I'll take it." "Good. Don't screw it up." That was as close to comfort as James Whitfield ever got, and somehow it was exactly what I needed. Sarah Kim stopped by my desk that afternoon with 2 coffees, setting one down without asking if I wanted it. "You've been eating lunch alone at your desk for 3 weeks. That's not healthy, Daniel." "I'm fine, Sarah." "You're not fine. You're surviving. There's a difference." She sat across from me anyway. "You don't have to talk about it. But you also don't have to pretend nothing happened." What am I supposed to say? My wife left me for a guy with 5 houses. There's not much else to add. You could say it hurts. That's allowed, you know. I didn't answer right away. "It hurts," I finally said, quieter than I meant to. "There. Was that so hard?" She smiled, gentle, not pitying. "Eat your lunch with people sometimes. That's all I'm asking." "Why do you care so much?" I asked. "We're co-workers." "Sarah, you don't owe me lunch company or coffee, or any of this. Because I watched you turn into a ghost for 3 weeks, and nobody else at this office seemed to notice or say anything about it." She shrugged. "Somebody should notice, I think. That's all." "That's a nice thing to say. Don't get used to it. I'm not always this nice." But she smiled again when she said it. And for the first time in weeks, I almost smiled back. That night, Tom called again like he did most nights now, checking in whether I wanted him to or not. "Did you check her page today?" he asked. Tom. "I'm asking because I already checked it, and I need to know if you saw it too before I say something I can't take back." I didn't look. "Good. Keep it that way. She's posting pictures from some yacht." "Some yacht, Daniel? You're building actual buildings and she's posting yacht pictures like it's an achievement. I don't care what she's posting. You should care a little. Anger's healthier than whatever this calm thing you're doing is." "I'm not doing a calm thing. I'm doing a not falling apart thing. There's a difference." "Fine. Fair enough." He paused. "You eating? Sleeping?" "Some. Enough." That's not really an answer, Daniel. It's the only one I've got right now, Tom. I'm getting through the days. That's the best I can offer. Okay, fair. I heard him exhale on the other end. Mom wants you to come for dinner Sunday. She won't say it's about Melissa, but it's about Melissa, I figured. I went. Ellen didn't ask a single question about the divorce papers I still hadn't signed, or about Rick Grace called me on a Thursday night, which surprised me, since Melissa's younger sister and I had barely spoken since the divorce papers went out. I probably shouldn't be calling you this late. Daniel, she said right away. Then why? Because somebody needs to know the truth, and Tom would just use it as ammunition, and Mom would just say, I told you so. She paused. Richard isn't who Melissa thought he was. What do you mean? He controls everything. Her cards, her car, even which friends she's allowed to see. She paused. Last week I heard him yelling at her through the phone for buying a dress without asking him first. I sat with that for a second. Part of me, the part I wasn't proud of, felt a flicker of something close to satisfaction. The rest of me just felt tired. Why are you telling me this, Grace? Because I think she made a mistake, and I don't know how to tell her that without her hating me for it. Her voice cracked slightly. I'm sorry, Daniel. For all of it. You don't owe me an apology. I know. I'm giving you one anyway. She was quiet for a second. He doesn't let her work anymore either. She used to talk about opening a little design shop someday, remember? That's gone now. He says it's beneath the life they're building. That doesn't sound like the Melissa I knew growing up, honestly. It's not. That's what worries me, Grace sighed. The mansion, the cars, it looks perfect from the outside. But she called me crying last month because she didn't have cash for groceries. Richard controls every account, every card. She has to ask permission for things you and I wouldn't think twice about. That's not a marriage. That's a leash with a nice view. I know. I told her that. She hung up on me. After we hung up, I sat in the quiet of my kitchen for a long time, turning the information over in my head like a stone I didn't know what to do with. Work, at least, gave me somewhere to put my energy. The Ashford project was moving fast, and James pushed me harder than he'd pushed anyone in years. Then, one Tuesday morning, he came into my office grinning in a way I'd never seen before. We won, he said, dropping the city award letter on my desk. The Ashford Riverside design. Best civic project of the year. Unanimous vote. I stared at the letter for a long moment before it landed. We won the award? You won it, Daniel. Your name's on this letter, not mine. I just signed the drawings. He clapped my shoulder hard. Do you understand what this means for your career? Firms will call you directly now. I don't know what to say. Say thank you and take Friday off. Sarah leaned against my doorway a few minutes later, coffee in hand, already smiling. Congratulations, Daniel, seriously. News travels fast. Small office. Also, James told everyone within 4 minutes. She sat down across from me, easy now, familiar in a way that had crept up on me without my noticing. You've changed these last few months. In a good way. Changed how? You used to apologize for taking up space. Now you don't, she shrugged. It's a good look on you, for the record. Careful, Sarah. That almost sounded like a compliment. Almost. Don't let it go to your head. She smiled over the rim of her coffee cup. I'm serious, though. Whatever you're doing to get through this, keep doing it. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just smiled and let it sit there between us, comfortable and unspoken. That weekend, James dragged me to a business mixer downtown, insisting it would be good for the firm's visibility now that the award had put us on the map. I hated those events, but I went anyway, standing near the bar with a drink I wasn't really drinking. That's where I met Nathan Reyes. You look as thrilled to be here as I am, he said, sliding up beside me. Is it that obvious? Painfully obvious, actually. He extended a hand. Nathan Reyes. Daniel Cole. Cole, you're the architect behind the Riverside project? Congratulations on the award, by the way. Well deserved from the renderings I've seen. Word travels fast in this city, apparently. Everything travels fast in this city. Money, gossip, downfall. He said the last word with a strange, deliberate weight, like it meant something very specific to him. You work with Richard Voss's company at all? On the towers, I mean. Something in my chest went still at the name. No, why? No reason. Just curious. Nathan swirled his drink. I used to be his partner. 10 years ago. Built half his empire with him before he decided he didn't need me anymore. That sounds personal. It is. He looked at me carefully, like he was deciding how much to say. You know him, don't you? Or someone close to him. I hesitated. My ex-wife is with him now. Nathan's expression didn't change much, but something behind his eyes sharpened. Then you might want to keep an eye on the news in the next few months. What does that mean? It means Richard Voss's company is one bad audit away from collapsing, and I intend to be the reason that audit happens. He said it calmly, almost pleasantly, like he was discussing the weather. He took everything from me once. I've spent 10 years making sure the ground under him isn't as solid as he thinks it is. That's a long time to hold on to something like this. Nathan, 10 years is nothing when you know exactly what you're waiting for. He looked at me evenly. Some men move on. Some men wait. I'm the second kind. Why are you telling me this? Because you seem like a man who deserves to know what's coming before it comes. He raised his glass slightly. Small world, Daniel Cole. Smaller than people think. He walked away before I could ask him anything else, leaving me standing there with my untouched drink and a strange, unsettled feeling in my chest. Part curiosity, part something else I didn't have a name for yet. I drove home that night thinking about Grace's phone call, about Richard yelling through a phone at a woman who used to be my wife, about Nathan Reyes and his 10 patient quiet years of waiting. Everything felt like it was building towards something, though I couldn't have said exactly what. I passed by the wooden box on the shelf when I got inside, the way I did every night now, though it didn't sting quite the way it used to. I paused for a moment looking at it, then set the award letter down right beside it. 2 pieces of the same strange year sitting side by side. Whatever was coming for Richard Voss, I told myself, had nothing to do with me. I had my own life to keep building, and for the first time in months, that life looked good on paper. But some quiet, honest part of me knew the 2 things weren't as separate as I wanted them to be. Something had shifted tonight, and I couldn't quite put it back. I lay awake longer than usual, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the strange shape of the last few months, Grace's confession, the award letter, Sarah's easy smile, Nathan's 10 patient years. None of it was mine to control, but all of it felt like it was circling closer to my own life than I wanted to admit. One bad audit away from changing everything. Ye chapter 4, pehle hi ban chuka hai. Same outline, exact 1,300 words. The story broke on a Wednesday morning. Splashed across every business channel before I'd even finished my coffee. Richard Voss's investment firm, under federal investigation for fraud. Assets frozen overnight. Nathan Reyes' name buried somewhere in paragraph 6. Described only as a former associate who provided documentation to investigators. I read the headline twice, then a third time, waiting for some rush of triumph that never quite arrived. Instead, I just felt a strange, hollow stillness, like watching a storm hit a house I used to live in. Tom called immediately, before I'd even processed the headline. Turn on the news, Daniel. Turn it on right now. I'm looking at it. Voss is finished. Frozen accounts, frozen properties, the whole empire. They're saying the mansion might get seized as part of the settlement. He laughed, short and sharp. You believe this? I believe it, I said quietly. I just don't know how to feel about it yet. Feel happy, Daniel. The guy who stole your wife just lost everything. He didn't steal her, Tom. She left. There's a difference, and I stopped confusing the two a long time ago. Fine, fair. But you have to admit there's something satisfying about this. Maybe. I honestly don't know yet. I rubbed my eyes. It's strange watching something you used to be so angry about just collapse on its own, without you having to do anything at all. That's called karma, Daniel. Or an SEC investigation. Either way, I'll take it. I didn't answer right away because I wasn't sure there was. My phone buzzed twice that afternoon. Melissa's name lit up the screen both times. I let it ring out. Then a third call came, and I stared at it until it went to voicemail, the silence in my kitchen somehow louder than the phone itself. I didn't listen to the voicemail. Not yet. Grace called that evening instead, her voice tight and fast, like she'd been holding the words in for hours. He hit something in the house last night, Daniel. A vase, a lamp, I don't know. Melissa said it felt like the walls were shaking. He's not just controlling anymore. He's unraveling. Is she safe? For now. She's staying with a friend from the gallery days. But that friend has a 1-bedroom apartment and a lease that doesn't allow guests past 2 weeks. Grace exhaled. Our parents won't take her in. They told her that when she left you, she made her bed. Those were Dad's exact words. That's harsh. It's honest. They warned her, Daniel. Everyone did. Grace's voice cracked slight. The knock came on a Sunday evening, quiet and hesitant. Nothing like the confident click of heels I remembered from years of her coming and going through that same door. I opened it, and there she was. Melissa, thinner than I remembered, wearing clothes that looked borrowed, her eyes red in a way makeup hadn't quite covered. For a moment, neither of us said anything, the silence stretching between us like it had somewhere to go. Daniel. Melissa. I didn't move to let her in. What are you doing here? I didn't know where else to go. Her voice shook. Richard's under investigation. The mansion's gone, frozen, whatever they call it. I'm staying on a friend's couch, and even that's running out in a few days. I heard. Grace told me some of it. Of course she did. A small, bitter laugh, no real anger behind it. I deserve that. I'm not trying to score points, Melissa. I'm just telling you I already knew. She looked past me, into the house, like she was searching for something familiar in a place she used to call home. Can I come in? Just for a minute, please. I stepped aside, but only halfway, leaving the door open behind her like a boundary neither of us needed to say out loud. I've been thinking about that night a lot, she said, standing awkwardly in the hallway where her suitcases used to be, the one where I left. I keep replaying it, wondering how I could say those things to you. You said them because you meant them at the time. I did. I really believed money was the missing piece. She wrapped her arms around herself. I was wrong, Daniel. About all of it. About you, about what actually matters. I know saying it now, after everything fell apart, makes it sound cheap. But it's true. I believe you believe that. I came here because I don't have anywhere else, but also because... She stopped, swallowed hard. Because some part of me hoped you might still want this. Want me. I know it's a lot to ask. I felt the old ache flicker somewhere in my chest, faint but real. The ghost of 6 years that didn't just disappear because I'd learned to live without her. Melissa, I'm not going to pretend those years meant nothing. They didn't. I loved you honestly and completely for a long time. That kind of love doesn't just vanish because it ended badly. But I'm not the same man who stood in this hallway holding lilies, waiting for you to explain yourself. That man is gone, and I don't think I want him back, even for you. I like the man I became after you left far more than I ever expected to. Her eyes filled. I understand. I do. I forgive you, Melissa, and I truly mean that. I mean that. Not because you've earned it necessarily, but because carrying anger toward you was starting to cost me more than it cost you. I forgave you for me, not for you. But you won't take me back. No, I won't. She nodded slowly, like she'd expected the answer but needed to hear it out loud anyway. Is there someone else? I thought of Sarah, of quiet coffees and easy silences that had started meaning more than either of us said aloud yet. Of the way she noticed things about me nobody else had bothered to notice in years. There's someone I'm getting to know, slowly, honestly. Not because I'm running from being alone, but because for the first time, I actually like who I am when I'm around her. That's good. Daniel, really? You deserve that. I do, I said quietly, and meant it without any arrogance at all. Just quiet fact. I walked over to the shelf by the door, the one that had held our wedding photo, and picked up the small wooden box I'd carved years ago. The one she'd left behind that first night without a second thought. You left this, I said, holding it out to her. I kept it all this time. Not because I was waiting for you. I just never found a reason to throw it away. Some things you keep out of habit, not hope. She took it with trembling hands, running her thumb over the initials burned into the lid, D and M inside a small carved heart. You built this for me. I built it because I loved you enough back then to spend 3 long weekends carving it by hand. When Richard's version of love was always just handing you a card and a number. My voice stayed calm, steady, no bitterness left in it to spend. That's the difference you never understood, Melissa. It was never about how much money either man had. It was about what we were willing to build with our own hands. She held the box against her chest, tears finally spilling over. I'm sorry. For not seeing that then, I know. I believe you. I stepped back toward the doorway. I hope you find your footing, Melissa. I really do. But I have my own life to keep building, and it doesn't have room in it for going backward. Can I ever take care of yourself first? That's all I'd ask of you now. I stepped inside and rested my hand on the door, and she didn't try to stop me, didn't reach for the handle or beg the way some part of the old me might once have expected. She just stood there quietly on the porch, holding the box that once held nothing but memories. And I closed the door gently between us. No slam, no drama, just a quiet click. The same sound that had ended 6 years of marriage once, now closing something else entirely. I walked back into my own home, my own life, past the empty shelf where the box used to sit, and felt something settle in my chest that had been unsettled since that first night with the lilies. Peace, I realized standing there in the quiet, wasn't something Richard's downfall had given me, and it wasn't something Melissa's regret could take away. It had been mine all along, built slowly, one honest day at a time, through work I was proud of and people who actually saw me. Revenge had never been the goal, no matter how satisfying his collapse might have felt from a distance. This quiet, steady peace was the only justice I'd ever actually needed.